Let's get back to our correspondent, Kris Van Cleave. He is on the scene there in Bethesda, Maryland. Kris, the police delivering a brief press conference there. What more can you tell us?
Well, Vlad, this is definitely a situation where the police are not saying everything that they know. There are some things they are holding back from us here. They did say that they are looking at this shooting, the one in Aspen Hill, as well as the one yesterday at a high school in the neighboring Prince George's County, Maryland, as being potentially linked. They're looking potentially for the same suspect, who, as you've been talking about, is a police officer. He'd been put on administrative leave. However, that still makes him a police officer, which means he's going to be familiar with investigative and police tactics. So that could change how police handle this investigation moving forward. They also know that you've got three very violent situations here. One of the people shot here has passed away. Another person is in critical condition from the shooting. Three people shot here about 11:15. Then we have that other shooting outside of a grocery store in nearby Aspen Hill, Maryland. That person has died. It was a fatal shooting yesterday outside of a high school. So we have a number of people that have been killed now, potentially by the same suspect, who happens to be a police officer who had been put on administrative leave after receiving a protective order. We're still digging into that protective order to try to get a little bit more information on that. But certainly this is a situation that has police now in two counties working together and very concerned. Schools in Montgomery County, Maryland are under a shelter-in-place order where they're keeping the kids inside because you have an armed suspect who is on the loose. Police really aren't saying if they have any sense as to where he might be right now.
Kris, there was a report earlier on our affiliate WUSA that police had some type of a vehicle in their line of sight, some kind of vehicle that had not moved. I don't know if that is near where you are. I don't know if you've been able to dig in a little to that.
That's at the other scene, and we understand the police investigators are looking into that vehicle. They're still talking about how the shooter is on the loose. So whether or not that car is linked to the shooter or linked to the shooting, we're unclear on. At this point, though, the shooter doesn't appear to be anywhere near either of these locations. He does live in the area. He's going to be familiar with both Montgomery and Prince George's County. They're counties that butt up right next to each other. They're immediate suburbs of Washington, D.C. They're big counties. These are, very sophisticated police departments that are putting a lot of effort in now to finding, whoever is responsible and trying to determine concretely whether or not these are linked. But certainly it is a concerning situation where you have your primary person of interest happens to be a police officer. That complicates things a lot. In fact, I asked Captain Paul Starks, the Montgomery County police officer who was briefing us, if that changes the game for them, and he said potentially it absolutely does, yes. You have a man that we know to be armed that's now been involved in 3 shootings. There are at least 3 fatalities. You have another person who is in critical condition and a suspect on the loose. It is not a good situation.
Kris Van Cleave, our correspondent there on the scene in Bethesda, Maryland. Kris, thank you.